Here we are spawning in the bottom right in the blue for Cascade Esports. He is Skillous. And his opponent in the upper left in the red for Alpha X. Give it up for Astrea. So it's PvP, and you know what? I would rate Astrea very highly in this matchup in particular. Of course, you know, he won Dream Hackmasters Winter over Neeb. He did a great run doing it. And Neeb is Neeb's a god of PvP. I mean, looking back a couple years, but I think it's still somewhat valid just because a lot of that was understanding based. Neeb was the first foreigner to win a tournament in Korea in like 20 years. Because of his mastery of PvP. You know, he had to just fight his way through a bunch of Protoss players, and he won the game, or he won the entire tournament when he won Kespa Cup. And Astrea, well, Neeb was the king of North America for a little bit, but Astrea finally ascended that throne towards the end of the year, and he looked damn good doing it. So, I mean, Astrea, he plays very good PvP. He plays a late-game PvP style that's really cool, with a big focus on Blink DT, charge lot, warp ins, and harassment all over the place, which kind of realistically, excuse me, realistically, he was like one of the first players to do that. And, well, then it just really caught on. And that kind of is the late game meta at this point, right? You put some observers with some DTs and some charge lots, and you just kind of fight all over the map. Now, of course, to get there, you have to get through the early game. You have to find your way through the mid game. And, well, that's not always the easiest thing, as Astrea will open up with a Stalker and a Sentry. That Sentry, at the very least, will be unscouted, and so will the Stalker, actually. So, good job there from Astrea, hiding what he has built from the pylon. And really, there's a reason that this kind of scouting pylon meta has ended. Is, well, realistically, it's not all that useful. Most of the times, the Protoss players won't really reveal what they have built. Now, they will in this case, because, well, Astrea actually blocks the Nexus, which is kind of a next level thing. You know, if you block the wall, I mean, who cares? You can kind of wait to move out. No big deal, but if you block the Nexus, well, suddenly Skillous has to fight that, because otherwise he won't be able to expand on time, and you'll find yourself in a rather nice lead. That being said, it will be a Stargate out of this from Skillous, so we do see our first deviation in playstyle. As Skillous again going for that Stargate, Astrea going for something more ground-based. Now what it is, not totally sure yet. It's most likely going to be Blink Stalkers, because it's always Blink Stalkers third base. It's kind of the PvP meta at this point. There we go. Twilight is on the way, but it's going to be an Oracle first here for Skillous, and I don't think we're going to go into Mass Phoenix. It is a rare world where that happens. I mean, sometimes it does, but it is a rare world where we see Mass Phoenix coming on in. And now, well, Skillous, he will have a roughly similarly timed Blink, but the exchange, right? The corner that he cuts to make sure that he gets the Stargate and a Twilight at a roughly similar time is his, right now, his probes are lower. He is 2 probes down. He's not been building as much. He's had to cut probes to get his Oracle out on the hopes that his Oracle will actually be able to get something done. That being said, this Oracle is just going to try to kill this pylon, which I don't know if that's the best energy use of Oracle energy. Is, well, the pylon will go down, and that's going to be nice, I guess. Astrea no longer will have a pylon on the map, but that is like all of the energy here of this Oracle. And now Astrea's going to scout the second one, but his Stalkers are woefully out of position. Yeah, that being said, though, we have 2 Stalkers on the high ground, so it's going to be fine. And Astrea doing a very good job, of course, tracking the position of this Oracle, which means the Oracle is really not going to be able to get a whole hell of a lot done. So Blink on the way for both players, and I'm kind of surprised we don't see a Forge for Astrea just yet. As I say that, Forge on the way. Okay, you know what? Cast a Curse. Now the Oracles are going to try to fly their way on in, and, well, there's Stalkers there waiting for them, so yeah, these Oracles are going to get nothing done, which means Astrea will be able to maintain his worker lead for the time being, and as I say that, yeah, okay. There we go, maintaining that worker lead just a little bit. Stalkers will find that, oh, man. One more shot. One more Sentry Tickle. And that Oracle does go down. Oh, the Stalker, oh, man. The reveal, the Revelate is so useful there, keeping the Stalkers under vision, so they're not going to be able to trap that Oracle and kill it off. But look at this, Skillous saying, like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to have to deal with this Oracle. It's going to be useful later on, but it's just not all that useful right now, so I'm going to split them off. Your Phoenix is going to be annoying on my one Oracle, but not my other. So there we go. +1 is on the way, and yeah, Astrea's going to have a massively positively timed +2 or +1 compared to his opponent. His +1 is halfway done, and the Forge is halfway done here for Skillous. So that's going to be a big deal, and he will have Immortals as well. Oh, nice! Oh, what a blink there. Yes, the Revelate will go off, but that's one less Oracle. That being said, though, look at this. Skillous, he's going to try to take the fight before the blink comes back off a cooldown, so Astrea's army won't be able to fight quite as well, but hey, you know what? It's going to be a Sentry for an Oracle and a Stalker. You know what? As much as you don't want to lose sentries, I feel like Astrea is most likely okay with that. As now Astrea will be able to sneak a probe around on the left-hand side, so he will be able to get his third base up. But now Skillous again, he's committing somewhat decently hard to this. I mean, not at the end of the day, not a ton, but just enough here. Now, the Stalker's going to blink on top of that one stasis, and actually it's going to save its own life. That was a really cool move. Notice the Stalker's like on 3 HP. It was just about to die, so he blinks on top of the stasis, so he becomes untargetable.
Game paused.
And Astrea's going to pause. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, Battle.net has been problematic all day. I was doing the Into the Alpha X Ignition Pro Series, Group C, the other day, or this morning, and it was bad. I mean, I was getting like 3,000 milliseconds to Korea to the point where I was causing the players to lag, and I had to go cast a couple games off of replay in the middle of a live tournament group, which was really unfortunate. What's my ping? Is this on East? I assume this is on East. Yeah. Well. Yeah, my ping's like 38. I'm like not all that far away from the server. Oh, wait. Never mind. He said no bueno, and then it's bueno. So we say go, go. And we're back in the game. So Astrea was able to take his third base behind this. He does have +1 just about done. And, you know, I talk so much about the gentleman's agreement of the PvP, right? Where you go and you both take your third bases with pretty much impunity. You get +1, you get blink, and then that's where things go crazy. Well, Skillous was having none of that. He said, look, I'm going to get aggressive. Well, once my blink is done, I'm not going to let you get a +1. Because, of course, his blink was delayed, or his +1 was delayed. So he wants to be able to do something before Astrea does have that advantage. But now Astrea does have that advantage. And his +2 is going to get started as well. It's not going to be quite as fast as +1, but I think that was mostly... I think that's mostly due to Chronos being spent. Yeah, Chronos getting spent on this to catch up +1 to +2. Anyway, we do have Immortals, and well, the big thing, of course, is DTs are on the way. We will have DT Blink on the way rather soon as well. As Astrea is moving into that late game composition that he is so comfortable with, but now the Immortals, they're going to fire strong. And I believe it is 4 Immortal shots or 2 paired Immortal shots that kill a Stalker. So Skillous is going to have to be very careful with how things do happen as we do go on here. But again, Astrea, he's just posturing with this, right? It's not, I need to go kill you right now. It's, if I can get some damage done, that's going to be nice. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And he does have his third base up. He is up 7 workers, really just through passive play. As no probes, it's like 1 probe aside. This has been primarily through passive play, which is surprising considering Skillous did have his third base up a little bit faster than Astrea did. But it looks like, I guess this is because, so Skillous is still on 3 gas, right? He is going for that charge lot style. And Astrea, well, he already has his Dark Shrine up. He is getting on into a higher gas count, which does mean that he needs more workers to make that happen. Skillous can get away with, what is that, 32, 48, 54, like 57 odd workers. So he's like 3 below where he would like to be. But of course, there's also the fact that his main base is mining out just a little bit. So he's mining at full efficiency with the number of mineral patches and gas that he does have. That being said, he's mining less. But it's not all that bad. Now, Astrea will see the fact that Skillous is taking a 4th base. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, Skillous is taking a 4th base on 53 workers. But, you know what? He doesn't need gas. He's just going mass charge lot, and you don't really need you really don't need a lot of gas for mass charge lot. So I guess that's the logic here. Is now Astrea getting ready to move out on the map, trying to do what he can to cancel this 4th base, because Astrea's army is most likely better, right? It's 4 Immortals. There's some DTs in there that do have blink, so they can get on top of any tech units. Oh, well, they will have blink in 10 seconds. Now this one Zealot's going to try to cancel this base of Astrea, and this is an interesting base to take for Astrea, to be totally honest. This is a base that is very close to this 4th base of Skillous, so that is that's very pushable for both players. Now, yeah, this base is going to get canceled here. Astrea not really in position, and I wonder whether this was kind of a bait, right? Astrea is trying to maybe draw Skillous into a position that's going to be not all that great. It's not the DTs, they will find their way on into the natural. And I guess it kind of was a bait, right? DTs do find their way in, they get 5 probes, and now, well, Astrea is going to be able to take a fight here with the Stalkers of Skillous, as Skillous is not paying attention because, hey, he was dealing with defending the DTs. So, Astrea masterfully taking advantage of Skillous's attention, right? We talk about StarCraft as a game of resources, and it is, but when we talk about resources, more often than not, we talk about gas, we talk about minerals, we talk about supply. We don't talk about attention span. We don't talk about agency on the map as much. I mean, we talk about map control, to be sure, but not in the same way. But APM, attention span, agency, tempo, all of these things are kind of the implicit resources of StarCraft 2. Your camera or your window can only be in so many places at any given time, and that does allow for a savvy player, a smart player, a skillful player to abuse that. So now we do have, of course, disruptors on the way here from Astrea, and he's just kind of content. He's got his 4th base up at a roughly similar timing there for Skillous. Not perfect, but again, Skillous does not have a lot of probes. He's just maxing out on army, so he's got a 20 army supply lead here. That being said, it's a lot of disruptors, and more are on the way. But look at this, man. Astrea doesn't know that Skillous is here. This is going to be a little bit dicey, as Skillous is going to look to cut Astrea off between his main and his natural. That's a lot of charge lots. Now they're going to try to get on top of these Immortals immediately. We're going to have to see a shield battery overcharge. The Immortals are firing strong, but the Disruptor shots are going to be very nice indeed. Now Disruptors are going to try to kill off these Stalkers, but they will get the Archons at the very least. And look at that, the supply is equalized. The flanking Disruptor, though, okay, it's just going to go down. But 16 workers died in the midst of that. Sure, still at a worker lead, but where in the world did those workers die? Oh, they died in the natural. Okay, I guess a couple Zealots found their way on into the natural as well. Now, Stalkers are going to blink, Zealots are going to get on top of this, but Astrea does have a worker lead. Disruptor shots are going to be absolutely massive here. Now with shield battery overcharge, Astrea is taking this fight with flying colors. Astrea is trying to make something happen, but it's not really working out. As now DT's on the other side of the map, doing damage to Skillous' already small economy. As now, Archons are going to try to kill off these Disruptors, but that's not going to be worthwhile. GG Astrea, through the might of his economy, is going to take game number 1. And that was going to be game number 1. That is, in fact, game number 1. Astrea just sitting there, forcing a Skillous to fight on into him when Skillous really didn't have that much of an army. Not much of a worker lead, or much of an economy. Really, he was down 20 workers for most of that game. He was down 5 to 20 workers most of that game. And when you're down like that, yeah, you're committing a lot to army. Skillous did have a 20 supply lead, but that 20 army supply lead was anyway, yeah, once you commit to that, right, especially with the lack of gas, it's pretty much only charge lots, which are good, they're solid, but when there are disruptors on the field, which just one tap as many charge lots as you want. So we do have the other semifinal is done. It was Max Pack versus Solar. Solar did take a 3-1 victory. Anyway, now we're sitting on in here. We're just waiting for the rest of casters to get on in because the semifinal 1 is done. All right, semifinal 1 was taken care of. Well, I guess the semifinal 2 is the bottom side of the bracket. MaxPax did fall down to Solar, but MaxPax found his way into the semifinals. He put a game against Solar, or he took a game from Solar, and apparently game 2 was a masterpiece. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. But luckily, Steadfast was casting it. Everyone was... Chicken Man was casting it. I don't believe Pig was casting it. Astrea is no longer in Korea. He had to go home. So he has been in North America for a while now. I think he's on the West Coast. But now we're getting ready to move on into game number 2. And the good news is all the rest of the commentators are in the lobby, which means I can steal their observing skills. Because, well, you don't want to have to look at me. Who am I kidding? I'm going to keep doing it anyways. We do have game number 2 is loaded on up. It is Astrea versus Skillous. Astrea has a 1-0 lead. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom right in the blue. Of course, representing Cascade Esports, he is Skillous. And his opponent in the upper left in the red, up 1-0 in this series for Alpha X. For my team, he is Astrea. Yeah, Fakukbarg? Fakukbarg? I don't know. Unfortunately, with COVID, the Foreigner house that No Regret ran, that Scarlet lived in, that Astrea lived in, that, what's his name? European Zerg. That, played for Cosmos for a little bit. Oh, it's gonna bug me. Anyway, that he lived in, that a couple other foreigners lived in, that had to close due to COVID, so everyone had to go home. Special was the lone exception because he lived with Armani, and he had been living in Korea for a while. He had a longer-term visa. But even then, Special did have to leave the country so he could renew his visa. But because of COVID, he can't necessarily just go to another country and go back. He had to go back to Mexico, and now he's going to be stuck with a 2-week quarantine, which is expensive. You have to stay in a hotel, you have to pay for everything, you have to pay for all the food, all that. So he is going to find his way back to Korea, I do believe. He should be able to do that, and he's actually trying to raise a lot of funds through playing in show matches, doing all that fun stuff. That being said, though, of course, it's not a great situation for him. But he will continue to be like the one foreigner in Korea, because realistically at this point, everyone considers him just a Korean Terran. He's not really a foreign Terran at this point. Now Astrea, that's an interesting position for a probe. Now, if he does proxy anything around here, right, it's not going to be any sort of aggressive. It's not going to be a Robo, for example. It might be a Stargate. But this position, and more importantly, like this position, is the prime spot where you drop a pylon and then you drop a twilight. You drop a twilight. You drop a dark shrine. You drop an extra gateway, maybe. Although the gateway's not all that popular there. So we do, of course, have Astrea or Skillous out on the map, trying to see what he can figure out, see what's happening. As Astrea does want to go for a single gate expand with a Stargate behind it. So this is the build that Skillous went for in the last game. We're going to have to see whether Astrea can pull it off better than Skillous did, or whether Skillous is just going to look to punish this as well as Astrea did. Because again, you do cut workers just a little bit to get that Stargate out, if you want to have a similarly timed blink, but Astrea may choose to not cut workers and instead slow his blink down. These are both options. They're both valid options. They're just a little different. As now these Stalkers, of course, are scouting on the map, trying to figure out what is happening. And you know what? It's going to be 4 Stalkers pretty soon, and there's only 1 Stalker on the way, because it's only a single gate expand. So that's going to be a bit of a problem here for Astrea, but he will have an Oracle moving on to the other side of the map rather soon, and his micro's looking real good. I mean, he has done a lot more damage to Skillous' Stalkers than he took himself. So now with 3 Stalkers to 4, but one of those Stalkers from Skillous is pretty heavily damaged. He should be able to take this fight. And the Oracle's going to fly across the map, and there is... Okay. There's a shield battery, so never mind. Everything I was going to say about how, wow, you know, there's not a lot here for Skillous to defend. Well, that's true. There's not. But a shield battery it more than makes up for things. And Astrea, he's only going to go for a single Oracle. Which, of course, does limit the damage that he can possibly do. Yeah, sort of. Thank you. Oh, dude, you're from New Zealand? I want to go there so badly. Like, my plan when I was coming out of undergrad, before I realized I was going to go get a PhD, was to go and, get my master's in 5 years with aerospace engineering, aerospace robotics, and then go just try to get a job with Electron or Proton Rockets, which has their launch facility on the North Island. And I still want to do that, but now I'm stuck here for 4 or 5 more years getting a PhD. But yeah, no, New Zealand is absolutely on my bucket list for many reasons. Backpacking and all that. Plus, well, hey, you all are handling COVID super freaking well right now. I'm kind of jealous. But anyway, Astrea, he does have his third base on the way. There is no Twilight here. Right, there's no Twilight. Has been made. It's just strictly into Robo into Immortals. And I do like this version of the build for Astrea a whole lot more than I do like the build for Skillous. Like, a Skillous, he went for double Oracle, and then he got Blink behind it. And he was just always a little bit behind economy. And now it's just gonna get even worse. Or it just got even worse as the game went on. And then he went for this charge lot style. It didn't really work. But with the Void Ray Immortal, that is how Astrea is going to find himself in a nice position. It means it's how he's going to be able to stay defensive. That being said, though, Skillous is going for double Forge here. And that's not something you see all that often in PvP. I don't remember the last time I saw that in PvP. Most likely, it's going to be for +1, and well, we're going to have to see whether this is going to be for shields or for armor. If it's going to be a Zealot-based composition, actually, it's going to be armor regardless, I think. Sometimes you might see a player go for shields if you're going to go for a lot of Archons. But that isn't likely. There we go. It's going to be 1-1 here for Skillous. And you know what? If Skillous gets away with this, especially if he gets into 2-2 and gets a 2-upgrade lead, he's going to be pretty nice. Ah, there my bot's doing something. Finally. That's supposed to repeat every 15 minutes. I've been live for 4 hours, and that's the first time it said anything. That's pretty sad. So we do have this Phoenix. It's going to scout on out, and, well, the Oracle, it's got like one kill. It's not all that useful, but again, it's one Oracle. It's more of a scouting thing anyways. But look at, oh, we have Void Ray Immortal coming on, and this is actually the style that Astrea is going for. Now, we've seen Phoenix Immortal. That was something that the Danish Protoss, Cripsale? Forget what his name is. I always forget his name. That's something that he's gone for, and he's beaten Nina with it like when she was looking real good. I mean, she's taken a step back for the moment, so not quite as powerful. Oh, hey, that's not bad at all. I also want to go to Argentina. So, I mean, there is that. So, look at this army here from us. This is a weird little bit of army here from Astrea. It's 3 Void Rays, 2 Mortals. And they're going to absolutely bypass every little bit of Scouting Stalkers that Skillous has. What do we have? How many gateways do we have? It's only 1 gate, so it's not like this is going to be a big warp in behind this. But, yeah, that is, oh, buddy, that is an Artosis Pylon if I've ever seen one. So we're going to see, this is the Pylon Assassination Crew. And that's only going to be 1 unit, 1 Zealot can warp in. So now the Stalkers are going to try to show on up here, and, well, it's 2 Immortals, 3 Void Rays. Good luck. But anyway, Astrea behind this, he's going to take his 4th base, and yeah, this is straight to carriers. This is triple carrier at like 8 minutes in a PvP. Astrea, I don't know what you're up to, but I love it. I love it so much. This is real cool. The question though is whether he will be able to keep Skillous back long enough to really hit that death ball situation that he wants. Now, the wall here is going to be useful. Wall is going to be useful indeed. It's going to be that much more difficult for Skillous to really get aggressive on the map. And also the interesting thing, of course, is, well, Skillous, now he will see the fact that Astrea is taking the weird 4th base. Normally, you take the kind of triangular, boxy one. Here we have a recall. Interesting. I guess he was just getting a little bit worried. Yeah, there are too many Stalkers here, maybe. But now, yeah, we do have the Stalkers moving out on the map here from Skillous, but Astrea's got a 20 army supply lead, and more importantly, he has a very powerful army. That being said, there are a lot of Blink Stalkers here. There are a lot of Charge Lots moving on in. And, well, Skillous does have 1-1. He does have that armor upgrades that will make these carriers a little bit less impactful. And Skillous, he's just going to all in on the 4th. He says, you know what, to hell with this. Damn the torpedoes. I don't care how much I lose. I'm going to go try to kill you anyways. And Astrea understands that at this point in the game, his army is not powerful enough where he can just go chase willy-nilly against a bunch of Blink Stalkers and Char Slots. He will lose that fight. So he's going to back on up here, take his fourth base once again, get a little bit more static defense this time. That being said, though, he's a little bit supply blocked, and that's a problem because, well, you kind of need supply to be able to build what you want to build. But now, Skillous at this point, he has realized the type of game that Astrea is playing. So he does have his 5th base on the way. He is getting up into those upgrades. He will have 2-2 rather soon. And honestly, that's pretty good here for Skillous. Having those 2 armor upgrades will keep his Stalkers alive a lot longer against this Stargate styles. These Void Rays, they do have Flex Veins, but Stalkers that blink, and they will be able to chase those Void Rays down. So 2 of the Void Rays do die. But Astrea still got a 20 army supply lead. He has 4 Immortals, 6 Carriers, and 2 Void Rays, and that is a terrifying army indeed. Now, we do have the Stalkers here. They're going to try to make something happen, but shield batteries are, in fact, a thing. They will be able to keep that static defense alive. Look at this, though. We have Storm on the way. And you know what? I actually really do like this. Storm is going to do a fantastic job against the Interceptors. But traditionally, of course, you just want Archons. Archons shred the Interceptors really quickly. So it's interesting that Storm will be the option. I don't hate it, though. As I did mention, it will kill off a lot of these Interceptors and just weaken all the shields, so the Stalkers can blink on top of that later on. We might even see some Storm drops, although I highly doubt that one. However, Astrea has been struggling to take his 4th base. So at this point, Skillous is up 2 bases on his opponent. He's up a rather significant economy advantage over the last 5 minutes. Because, of course, before then, Astrea had the wool pulled over Skillous' eyes. So he was actually able to find himself in a nice economic lead. But now, with 2 more carriers on the way, we're going on up to 10 carriers. That's a lot of carriers, and it's not like Tempest are on the way. Anything that really does hard counter these carriers, not really a thing. With the Immortals here sitting on the left-hand side with this wall, the Stalkers can't really find their way on in either. So I think we've kind of hit that point where maybe these carriers are hitting critical mass. I mean, 10 carriers with +2 in 1 second. With +2 is rather powerful. Alright, so now we do have this engagement happening on either. Stalkers are going to blink on top of things. We will see some Storms that are going to try to knock down all of these Interceptors, but it's really not going to be all that successful. Sure, the Void Rays are going to lose some shields, but that's not all that great. Storms. And now Astrea, he's got a 40 army supply lead. This is kind of one of those things where, you know, you see the Zerg, they've been growing all game, and they've been trying to build what they can to deal with the Skytoss, and then the Skytoss says, ah, yeah, +2 Skytoss timing, +2 carrier timing. And that's pretty much what we saw Astrea do there, except his opponent was Protoss, and has the ability to build Tempests, which are very, very good against these carriers. Now, 1 carrier, 2 actually carriers did go on down. That's something. But now we do have the army of Astrea, and he is getting charged. Now he's realizing that maybe at 12 minutes on into this game, maybe he should get some charge. Maybe that's going to be useful. But now, of course, the carriers are going to release all of their Interceptors. This static defense is not going to last long at all. The goal, of course, is for the Archons to get on top of these Interceptors, and we just see a lot of Interceptors die. But how many Interceptors have actually died this game? Only 26. Only 26. So that's actually not really worth it. That being said, though, Skillous, he's going to try to make use of his... Oh, wait, did he just get the Mothership? No, we got a 3rd carrier that was rallying across. Nice job there from Skillous. I don't know if it's enough, though, yet. That being said, the 5th base here from Astrea will get targeted down, will get killed. But Skillous will lose a base as well. And look at this, Astrea's taking a really good position here on top of the Doodad, but the Stalkers are going to blink on top of things. Archon's trying to get on top of things as well. Stalkers are going to try to target down as many carriers as possible, and they will be somewhat successful in their task. Actually, no, they're going to be very successful in their task. Only 2 carriers remain out of, I think it was 10 carriers that were there, and that's going to be a recall forced. Huh, so only 4 carriers on the map, which does mean that I think there was like 6 carriers that just died. Fantastic trades there from Skillous, and Astrea doesn't really have that big of a bank, but more importantly, he doesn't have that much production. It's only 3 Stargates. It's going to take him a little bit of time to find his way on in. And now we have the Stalkers. They're going to try to blink on past here, knock down 1 pylon, try to maybe knock down a 2nd. Some of the production here from Astrea is going to get targeted down, but again, Astrea doesn't really care about that type of production. He only cares about his Stargates, his precious, precious Stargates. But now, of course, with more Void Rays on the map, these Stalkers are going to not be quite as impactful. Now with Shield Battery Overcharge, Skillous is not going to be able to find his way on into this base as well. So Astrea, he's pretty comfortable on 4 bases. He does not have a 5th base yet, though. And that's a bit of a problem for him, as eventually he's going to start to run out of money. If you look at relative income here, he's doing fine. Skillous is mining more, of course, but we're still at like 2,600 minerals a minute. But if we look at bases here, Natural is getting close to mining on out. 3rd base is down out of 8 as well. So Astrea, he does need to take a 5th base at some point. Pardon me, I took a drink of water and lost the harassment. Anyway, the Stalkers are going to find their way on into this Natural, and a couple probes will go on down. These Stalkers are quite tanky because they have +2 armor and +2 shield. It's not quite as easy to kill these Stalkers as Astrea would really hope. But of course, this run by on the right-hand side is continuously being thwarted by so many stasis traps. As we... Oh, Astrea. Astrea, I love you. So we're going to see a recall here of Astrea's army on probably into the main base of Skillous, but Skillous, I mean, he's aware of this at this point. You gotta be. He's pulling probes for this. But there we go. Now we have the recall coming on in. It's all cloaked. It's all daggered. And, well, it's all cloaked, and now the dagger is coming on in. 1 base from Skillous is going to go down immediately, and now Skillous, he's triggering the base raid. This is a lot of Blink Stalkers, a lot of charge lots, and the question really is whether Astrea will be able to do the damage before Skillous is. Now look at this. Astrea is targeting down the production of Skillous before anything else. He says, look, if I take a good fight, I want to be able to reinforce, but I don't want you to be able to do so. And that is exactly what's happening here, as all of the pylons are getting targeted down. Now, you got to get that Forge as well. Now, the DTs, of course, are really important. So DTs will get targeted down. Forge will get depowered and killed. So it's only going to be 3-3-2. We will not see +3 shields in this game, most likely. And now Astrea, he's starting to do some tremendous damage. But, of course, Skillous is doing the same. He's in the main base. He is cut off of any reinforcements here. But it looks like for the moment we may be able to get +1 shields. Now, Skillous will probably target that down, but that's something we're going to watch here to see whether it is something that Astrea can get out on the map. Army supplies are roughly equal. Upgrades are ahead here for Skillous, but it's a bit asynchronous, so it's not the hard and fast rule that you would expect to see. And you know what? Skillous is going to allow +1 armor to complete, and which is actually going to be rather nice for Astrea here. But now we have a bunch of Stalkers here on the high ground. There's a lot of static defense, so Astrea maybe can't take this fight. That being said, a bunch of Zealots did get warped on in, and they're going to be able to actually target some things down. There we go. Pylon, of course, is going to repower the Forge, but that's not going to last for that much longer here. As, yeah, Skillous, he's mining, sure, but oh, hold that thought. We do have this fight happening in the middle of the map. Stalkers blinking forward, and how many carriers just died? A lot of them, actually. How many carriers do we have on the map? Only 3. Yes, the Mothership Core is there, or the Mothership, excuse me, is there, and that's going to be Astrea's saving grace, because honestly, he can't take this fight otherwise, but that is a lot of cannons. Now the Stalkers are going to blink on forward, and we have a recall of the ground-based army, and that's going to get a bunch of charges coming on in. Storms are going to be somewhat nice, though. Actually, they're going to be very nice here. All the Zealots are going to go on down, but the Immortals are going to be firing on strong. A lot of Skillous' army is going to fall on down here, and it really comes down to the Sky Army at this point. Here are the carriers, are the Void Rays more powerful than what Skillous does have? Now, Astrea does not have any detection. He has one Void Ray, he has one Oracle, and that is actually just keeping him alive, continuing to build all of these stasis traps. Oh, look at this. +3 will finally get denied. Okay. These 2 Zealots are doing real good work. So now where do we stand, right? That's the really big question. Oh, +1 armor actually is also going to get delayed. Astrea doesn't need to repower that. But really the question is where we stand, right? Astrea, he's mining off of 1 base. He has been able to... Actually, no, he didn't even lose his 3rd base, but he's not really able to mine a lot out of that. He does not have a lot of production. He's building Immortals, but he doesn't have a lot of bank either. Skillous is going to try to... Actually, he will succeed now in repowering these gateways, so he should be able to rebuild his army rather soon. But really the saving grace here for Skillous in this game is the fact that he has 3-3-2. His upgrades are above repute. Or above refute, I should say. That's the word I'm looking for. So that really, the fact that his Stalkers have +3 armor and +2 shields are making them a whole lot harder for Astrea's army to really kill. That, and of course, it is Blink Stalkers, so they will be able to be more active on the map. It's harder for Astrea to really move around like he would like to be able to do so, as that stasis trap is going to be insanely powerful. Keeping Astrea alive once again is now. We are starting to see the tech of Skillous get targeted down once again. Yeah, he's going to be able to repower, but not for that much longer, as we have Warpins coming on in, and they will actually be able to get on out. Actually, that's the question. When you have the Stalkers warping on in, if you depower the gateway before the warp in does complete, does that cancel the warp in? I mean, I know it does if you're going for a well, yeah, that was one. He recalled 2 immortals. Nice. Anyway, I know it cancels the recall if the pylon they're warping on into gets depowered. But I don't know if that happens if it's actually the gateway that gets depowered. I've never actually seen that tested. But anyway, all of these gateways are getting targeted down here, and Skillous is going to spend the rest of his bang on Cybercore so he can build more Stalkers and a bunch more gateways. Of course, Astrea, he's only mining off of this one base and not all that efficiently. He's only on 17 workers. I mean, that being said, he's got a scary army. That's kind of the thing I'm looking at here. His army is scary, and it is very difficult for Skillous to really find his way on into things. But again, 332 Blink Stalkers. It's not the easiest. Skillous does have what he needs, but now he's going to blink on top of things. The mothership is going to go on down here, which does mean that the detection is no longer needed, and it's just a bunch of Void Rays Immortals going to try to do what they can. Stalkers as well. Carriers as well. Does Astrea have what he needs? It looks like he does if we look at the supply. The Stalkers will not win that fight, but more and more Stalkers are going to get warped on in here. Astrea, though, he will, in fact, recall, and actually, I think those Immortals are trapped. No, they can get out. They should be able to get out. What is Astrea going for at this point? He's still able to mine from his third base, kind of. I think that's out of... Yeah, no, he still has gas from that base, but he's got a big gas bank. He just needs minerals. And he's just building probes. So while Astrea did kind of take that fight, and kind of is the operative word, he lost a lot of his tech. Skillous is still mining. Skillous still has the bottom side of the map. He is 11 out of 16. He's mining fully from like 3 bases, or he will be soon. Again, these stasis traps have just been dynamite here for Astrea. Now, well, Skillous, he's trying to take this fight, but every time he just seems to lose a lot. Now, we will have to wait for the stasis trap to end, but of course with Blink here, well, they're just going to be able to blink out. The question, though, is how much damage do they get done before then is now, okay, now Skillous moving on in here, trying to get on top of things. One Immortal will go on down. The Void Rays are starting to go on down as well, but still, this is not the best fight here for Skillous, but it's not a matter of armies anymore. As much as I would love to say it is not. Skillous just has more money. He is mining that much more. So even as Astrea notionally takes the better fight, does not really matter. Astrea is actually going to pull the probes for this. That's how you know it's over. Skillous just has too much. Astrea played a fantastic 21-minute game. It's been a slobber knocker, but at the end of the day, Skillous just has more money. That's going to be it. GG. Skillous is going to win game number 2. So I'm not exactly sure what these players ate, but they're pounding their Wheaties, right? They look so damn good. We had our series of Nice versus Solar was incredible. Honestly, Nice he probably should have won game number 1. He should have taken that series. Now, of course, Solar is waiting on in the finals. This series is fantastic. The series prior was fantastic. That was Astrea versus Armani, or at least the game that I saw. I assume the other two were very good as well. And you know what? I'm loving it. I'm a McDonald's Happy Meal. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I think. I'm a McDonald's jingle. Anyway. Y'all get the point. Alright, so now we're going to get on into our third game in this series. Astrea's got game 1. Skillous is game number 2. Game number 3 will be on Oxide. And if you remember, we saw some... We haven't seen a... Have we seen a great PvP? I've cast so many games over like the last 48 hours that it's all starting to blur together just slightly. Oh yeah, Knights versus Goblin was a fantastic PvP on Oxide. But now we have game number 3. It's on the way. Actually, it's all loaded on in. Astrea's got a map. Skillous has got a map. Let's go. Spawning in the upper right, in the blue, of course, representing Cascade Esports, from Russia, he is Skillous. And his opponent in the bottom left, in the red, for Alpha X, he is Astrea. So game number 1 went to Astrea in a long game. Game number 2 looked like Astrea maybe had what it took, but Skillous out-expanded him. He took the map. He was able to whittle Astrea down more than Astrea whittled down Skillous in the base trade. And even though Astrea did take some rather good fights, and it did seem like Astrea had the better army, Skillous was able to just expand around the map away from wherever Astrea was fighting. And then, well, Astrea finally died. Not because his army was bad, but because he could just not afford to replenish it. So it looks like we will have the single gate expand once again from both players here. The build that Max Pax has revolutionized, and the funny thing about this build is you see pylons blocking both bases, then we'll see a cyber block both bases once this pylon gets close to going down, and Astrea is going to look to do that as well. Although, actually, well, Skillous is going to be a little bit slower with that. He says, look, I don't need to drop a pylon right now. Who cares? It's going to be fine. I know you don't have the money for that. And the Zealot's on out, which doesn't mean there's going to be no pylon on it up here. But I'm getting, like, this strange sense that Astrea doesn't really plan on going for a expand build in this game. He's making it look like he is, right? And that is absolutely something, but... Zoom in. Thank you. There we go. But at the end of the day, I believe that Astrea is going to go for a bit more of an aggressive option here in this game. Now the probe has been shooed away. Probe is now out on the map, and there we go. Astrea is just going to take his natural anyways, and it's going to be a little bit fat. Okay, never mind. But is Skillous doing something? He did get that second gateway. He will chrono boost this cybercore now that the probe of Astrea is gone. And there we have the pylon on the map. Now Astrea scouts this, but he's not going to try to kill it. Oh, okay. Astrea. Oh, the pylon's going to get canceled anyways, but now it's going to be 3-gate pressure on in here from Skillous. Going to try to punish the greed of Astrea, and you know what? Astrea has gone sentries. He has a zealot, he has a couple sentries, and sentries don't fight stalkers. They have a little bit of a tickle beam, and that's just about it. So we're going to have to see. Well, okay, they should be able to get the Zealot. And that's going to be something. If we do have a Robo follow-up on the way. Now, normally, when it's 3-gate pressure against... Oh, look. Oh, God, man. Astrea, you're so sexy. Look at that. He will be able to body block the Stalker away, which will force the recall, so the Stalker does not die. And now Astrea is going to be aware of what's happening. I don't know if he saw the pylon. Let's take a look. No, he didn't, but he saw the second Stalker on the map, and he will now he will see that the Nexus is only just now getting started. So that should tell him that, oh God, I need Immortals yesterday. Today is going to be nice, but yesterday is even more important. Now, of course, with the... Okay, we got to see a wall. There we go. And with the sentries here, this is a scary position for Skillous to really try to attack on into. But the wall is going to go on down. 2 Adepts will find their way on in, but 2 of them will die immediately. So it's going to be 1 Adept on into the main base, which can still pose a threat. It's 2 Adept shots to kill one of that. But the probes are going to get pulled here, and the Stalkers are going to get warped on in. So this shouldn't get too much. As I say, that's going to get 4 probes. 3 probes. Never mind. Now we have an Immortal out, and the hold is successful. Astrea does have a 4-worker lead despite losing 3 probes. And I don't really think we're going to see Skillous warp in that much more. As I say that... Oh, this is 4-gate. I'm sorry. Yes, Skillous does have a natural, but it's 4-gate, and he is absolutely committed to this. He's really not building all that many probes. He's cut probes just slightly. And now Astrea is just going to try to hold here, but once he has 2 Immortals, I don't really know what Skillous is going to be able to do to find his way on in. And that force field is going to be rather nice, but not good enough. No Immortal really firing strong, but hey, you know what? That's a dead Stalker, and a Hardened Shields is going to get popped. There is a shield battery, and that's going to be totally fine. So now Astrea feels confident to move out on the map, to try to shut down this pressure from Skillous once and for all, take advantage of his macro lead. He's now up 6 probes because he got his natural on time. So this pylon will go on down, and maybe we'll see Astrea get a little bit aggressive as well. At the very least, I think we're going to see a 3rd base. Okay, there we go. 3rd base. We'll get on out here, but Astrea behind this, he will go out and make an aggressive move. Do the whole, you know, make your base and then defense it. Or in this case, the best offense is or the best defense is a good offense. Also, the best offense is a good defense sometimes. But anyway, is that only... Excuse me, wow. Voice is getting tired. That only 1 gate there for Astrea. So, well, I guess it's 2 gates. But he's now going to try to ferry some stuff on into the high ground. Immortals first to serve as a powerful move. And, oh, he's going to put a pylon on the high ground. Oh, man. Oh, no, never mind. That was a pylon from Skillous. What am I saying? But now Astrea here with the 2 Immortals firing strong. Force fields will be able to keep the majority of this army from Skillous out, and the probes are going to have to be pulled to defend that, but that's not successful whatsoever. So many probes are going down. Now the Stalkers are going to try to get the War Prism. They will be successful. So this is going to necessitate a recall here from Astrea, but will it? Will it even? I mean, his army is damn powerful. Immortals are still firing strong, and that's just going to be it. GG Astrea. He's going to take a 2-1 lead. Oh, man. Poor posture plus talking a lot does mean that you get squeaky a little. So I need to get a better chair. If anyone's watching and has a lead on a chair sponsorship, I would love you 5 ever. Maybe I should put a donation goal. Maybe I should have a donation goal. Maybe I should have a subscriber goal instead of just a ticker at the bottom. That reminds me. If you like what I'm doing, follow me on Twitter. Sure, number 1. B, if you got an Amazon Prime sub, if you actually want to use a real sub, I'm not going to say no. I'm not trying to make this full-time. I wish I could, but I'm a full-time PhD student. But everything that, every bit of subscription money, every bit of donation money, every bit of bits, I guess, well, that does go towards me upgrading the setup. Right now, I am trying to upgrade my microphone because it definitely has issues when I get louder. Definitely has some fuzz issues that while I've tried my hardest to use equalizers and things to clear that out, it's a $40 boom mic. It's better than a lot of stuff, but it's not perfect. Not by any stretch of the imagination. So I did find myself a Go XLR for cheap off of eBay. I got very lucky there, but I'm trying to get an XLR mic of some sort, really upgrade the audio quality, and then get a camera as well, get some lights, do all that stuff, make it look really nice. That being said, none of this is required. And I probably should show myself once a stream. I'm not the best at doing that. I mean, we see Wardy here with his donation goal, and he gets, granted, he's got a lot more viewers, but he gets like $30 a day and like 30 subs a day. I'm like, well, okay. You know, I'm not Wardy. But I could be someday. Who knows? Anyway, we do have our potentially last game of the semifinals. It's all loaded on in now. Skillous versus Astrea. Game 4 is on Juggernaut. Let's go. Spawning on in the upper right. In the blue, down 1 game in the series. His tournament life on the line for Cascade Esports. He is Skillous. And his opponent in the bottom left, in the red, representing Alpha X. 1 game from the finals. He is Astrea. So what are we going to see in this game? That's the real big question. Astrea went for a crazy carrier tech in game number 2. Didn't work out. It almost did, but not quite. Game number 1, he just played a more standard style. He got more money, and then when a Skillous tried to kill him, Skillous was not able to. He missed his timing. Astrea was able to hold, and then he crushed him through the sheer power of his dollar bills. Game number 3, Skillous tries to do something aggressive, punish the gate first. Astrea says, no, 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 you don't get to do that. He gets some Immortals out, he holds that off, and then he moves across the map, force fields off the majority of Skillous's army, kills the rest of it, kills like 20 probes, and that is that. So that's what we saw in games 1 through 3. Game number 4, though, it's a whole nother game. It's a whole new world. It's a million things you've never seen, and it's not even live action. So we will have a double stalker opening from Skillous once again. I think he's done that every game in this series. As that is, of course, the most versatile opening. You can react to pressure, maybe. You can be aggressive. It keeps you safe against quick Stargate stuff. Anyway, it's a really powerful composition. But Astrea, again, showing his propensity for expanding for play, for solid, strong defensive play, it's going to be Stalker Sentry, Stalker Sentry. So eventually, once once these two cycles are done, he's going to have 2 Stalkers, 2 Sentries, and that's going to be a really strong defensive force to allow him to take his natural. Skillous, though, for his part, he is going for a Stargate in his main base. So it's not going to be anything too crazy, anything too aggressive, but he's going to try to get something done with that. Look at this. We do have that's a sneaky probe. I guess it's just a scouting probe, but again, that's a bit surprising here. But of course, these Stalkers at the front not going to get a whole lot done. It does look like Skillous is going to take a positive trade. Actually, yeah, he very much is going to take a positive trade, as the Stalker from Astrea will find his way out into the yellow, and both Stalkers of Skillous are in the green still. So nice little bit of micro there, micro win there for Skillous. And now we have 2 more Stalkers on the way. So 4 Stalkers versus 2 Stalkers and 2 Sentries. But Warp Gate is just about done. Shield batteries will be done, mostly pretty much done by the time this the extra Stalkers find their way on in. And nice force field. Look at that. Astrea, he lured him in. He said, I'm quavering in my boots. You've done a lot of damage to me, so I need to be very careful. And he does need to be very careful. Look at that second force field, too. Will he get the second Stalker? No, he will not. But still, fantastic moves there from Astrea, as he will trade off that 1 Stalker for 0. And that's, 175 resources. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but certainly it's about 3 probes worth of, well, gas is not, you can't buy probes with gas, but you get the point. Like 3 probes worth of resources. Certainly 2.5 probes worth of actual minerals. So now Astrea, he's got a 5 worker lead, just by not doing a whole hell of a lot. He took his natural faster, he was able to macro out of that. There it goes. But look at this, he's already going on up to 4 gas. Right, that's kind of weird. Normally you would go on into, sorry about that. You normally would stay on 3 gas for the time being as you get your probes up, do whatever. But Astrea already has a probe lead. He's got a 6 probe lead now, and he's going to be pretty well buttoned up against these oracles. Right, he's got Stalkers in position. He has Sentries in position, but Skillous is going to try to kill off the Sentries. No, he's not. Okay. But now we have Stalkers moving out on the map, and Astrea has really not shown a lot. He has a Forge on the way. We have a Twilight on the way as well. And an Immortal is getting built, but no, Astrea is supply blocked for the time being, not until this last pylon comes on in. And this is going to be a bit dicier. So it's only 3. Actually, never mind. It's just 3 Stalkers. That was an Observer Sniper Force. The Oracles are now going to try to find their way on into the main base, but look at the Stalker positioning. This is just, yeah, really good job here from Astrea. Skillous committing to 2 Oracles, which is, of course, twice as many Oracles as 1 Oracle. Wow, fancy that. Figure that one out. Math is hard. But more important, again, Skillous, he's committing to those Oracles, and that means he's not committing to other things. Yes, he's going to have a faster blink as well, and he's actually going to have a lot of gateways, but actually the worker count is evening out too. So yeah, the difference here is Astrea will have +1 a lot faster, and will have Immortals a lot faster. Oh, look at this. This is so cool. So Astrea, he's making it look like he's moving out for an attack. Look at this. With the Warp Prism here, he says, Skillous, be afraid, be very afraid. I'm moving out for something. I'm going to go try to warp on in and kill you. So Skillous, he's got shield batteries on the way. He's like, oh god, oh no, Astrea is trying to kill me. I got to be prepared here. That's a lot of stuff. But now Astrea just goes back. He says, oh, well, you know what? Nope, that's not exactly what I'm doing whatsoever. So Warp Prism's going to find its way into the main base. And Skillous is probably going to realize at this point that this is a hallucination, but really cool move there from Skillous, or from Astrea. As I think one of those shield batteries actually did get canceled at the end of the day. Really cool move there from Astrea. Just trying to convince Skillous that, oh god, you got to spend some money. I don't know how successful it was. I didn't see any extra warp-ins. And, Astrea didn't really see much of a worker lead out of it, but, you know, Astrea now he's getting into his wheelhouse. He does have his third base done. He's up to 60 odd workers. He's going to be there soon. He does have a Dark Shrine on the way. His Blink is just about done. His +1 is just about done. And, oh, look, the Oracles will finally find an undefended mineral line, but it's only 2 probes. Okay. Oh no, Astrea, he's going for a pylon for maybe some warp-ins later on. It's going to be found by the Oracles immediately. Actually, this Oracle's just going to kill it. Yeah, Oracles do a surprising amount of damage to buildings if they have enough energy, which, I mean, this one does. It's sitting at like it was sitting at 100 energy before it decided to go kill that pylon. So that's going to be rather nice there for Skillous. He doesn't have to worry about any sort of run bys from that position later on, but, I mean, Astrea's still looking for a position to drop a pylon. Okay, so Dark Shrine, just about done. It's going to be done in 5 seconds, something like that. We have +2 on the way here for Astrea. Skillous only on +1. And there we go. Dark Shrine is done. DT Blink is on the way. And Astrea, he's going to look to tear the map apart at this point. He does have a 4th base on the way, but so does Skillous. So that's not that big of a deal. Actually, Skillous is going to have that faster 4th base. And actually, he's got a better economy, too. This is kind of the reverse of game number 1, except, honestly, Astrea's army is a lot more powerful than Astrea's ever was. Yeah, he's got an army supply lead, but he's also got a significant gas value lead. Additional 700 gas, because that is 4 immortals, and he does have an upgrade lead too. So Astrea is going to try to get some damage done here, but we don't have a warp prism. So I guess the job here, the Stalkers are going to blink on into the main base, and they're going to depower a pylon. That is Nartosis pylon indeed. A recall will get forced, but now the Stalkers, they're just going to warp back on into the low ground, force everything back, but now the goal here is the DTs, right? The majority, actually the entire army of Skillous has been forced back on into the main base, or maybe to try to deal with these Stalkers, and yeah, actually no Stalkers will even go down, but now the DTs are going to find their way on into this base, and yes, the probes will get pulled here, but DTs on hold position are going to be powerful indeed. Actually, yeah, they're just going to be revealed, and DT Blink's not done yet, so it's just going to be a full recall there. As Astrea's taking this fight on in the middle of the map, he does have a little bit more. Again, his upgrades are better. Wait, never mind, +1's done. I was like, man, is Astrea about to get +2 lead? What just happened to Skillous' +1? But no. It does complete. And now Astrea, he's got the 3-worker lead by dint of A, killing off 3 workers of his opponent, and B, continuing probe production. So now it's Skillous' time to get on the map here, try to get something done, but that slim timing where he had equal upgrades, it's gone. It's gone now. Astrea now has +2. Man, look at what Skillous is doing here with his late game tech. He is getting 2 additional forges. He's getting on into all 3 ground upgrades at the same time. And, I mean, that's what worked out for him in game number 2, when he was able to slay Astrea in the super long game in that base trade. But this is a kind of a different game. I mean, very clearly it's a different game, but this game is going to be played rather differently. Right? It's not like it's a bunch of sky toss and you need all that bulk. And Astrea may be able to punish that. With all the money, it's, what, an additional 300, which is a decent amount of Stalkers, actually. Astrea may be able to punish that by just building a much bigger army and hitting with this +3 timing. Now, as the game does go late, and as Skillous is able to make use of a triple forge, eventually his army may get significantly weaker, right? If it's going to be 3-3-3 versus +3, yeah, Astrea is not going to be able to take that fight easily. But of course, Disruptors don't care about upgrades. So there's that. But now, of course, we do see the supply advantage that comes from not buying a couple additional forges and upgrades. Astrea now up 30 army supply. He was up 40 for a second. And now he's going to try to take this fight up onto the high ground. There is 1 Disruptor here on the map. And that is going to try to do what it can. Oh, it looks like a Stargate was made. But there we go. 1 sentry will die. But that's all. There are only 2 Disruptors here for Astrea right now. And that means he's not really going to feel comfortable making this attack happen. And this timing that he has, which you would think would be very good, right? He's up 30 supply. Well, it looks like he's not going to be able to get it. And now the upgrades have started to come to fruition. Skillous, from an upgrade deficit, he's now up 2 upgrades. Right, that's the power of going triple forge. So we're going to have to see whether Astrea can punish that, or again, whether Skillous is just going to get away with having like all the upgrades in the world and just go to town. Now the Stalkers are going to find this stasis trap, and there we go. They will be able to kill that one off. And now it's time for Astrea to get aggressive here. Disruptor shots are going to go on off, and that will be a positive trade here for Skillous. But Astrea, he still does have a 10 army supply lead. It's not the 40 that he once had, but now Stalkers are going to blink on top of things, and this will force the Stalker of Skillous back. The Stalkers, excuse me. There's more than one. So Astrea is saying, okay, look, I'm on 5 bases. This is Juggernaut. I am not going to break you. You're also on 5 bases. What does this mean? Time to go on into double Stargate play. I believe we have a fleet beacon. No, it's just going to be +1, but we don't have a second Stargate yet, or a fleet beacon. Seems like a bit of an oversight there from Astrea, but I guess he's going to get that eventually. Now look at this. We got a big flank coming on in here from Astrea. Disruptor shots are going to go off on the left-hand side, knock down an Immortal, but more Disruptor shots are going to go off. Those will be warded aside. And now these DTs won't be all that. I mean, that's cool. So, yeah, Astrea, he's going to get some damage done with these DTs, and that does mean that all the DTs of Skillous are going to get recalled back home, which means that they're not going to get a lot of damage on the map here. But now Astrea is going to really hopefully find an inside position here against this army of Skillous. Skillous now going to try to come and flank from behind. All the Disruptor shots are going to go off. Massive explosions everywhere here. Disruptors coming off from Skillous as well, from Astrea. I'm not really sure who's winning this fight. It looks like Skillous, though, as he has the big flank. And now the DTs are going to come on in. All of the Disruptors are going to go down from Astrea. Skillous has put himself in a fantastic position as he is doubling the army supply of his opponent. He has better upgrades. He has better tech. And from a really not a great position, Skillous was able to take advantage of his timing and really make everything of it. Now, we do have more Disruptors on the way, more Carriers on the way, of course, but this is a lot of DTs, and that's a bit of a problem. With Shield Battery Overcharge, these cannons will be able to stay alive for the time being. That being said, though, again, Skillous' army is better. It is a 1 upgrade lead at this point, not 2, but he is winning the blink. He is winning the blink battle now. DTs will get on top of this as well, which means Astrea does have to retreat. He is now down 30 army supply. And with the Disruptors, of course, that's maybe something that he can make happen here. There are so many observers here for Skillous, making sure that the defensive DTs are, the defensive DTs are not going to get a whole lot done. The Disruptors will call off a lot of these DTs, but there's still more where that came from. That being said, it looks like Skillous is taking some damage as well somewhere. That being said, though, this 5th base of Astrea is dead. Astrea, he has been able to equalize the army supply just a little bit. He's found his way back on into things. His worker lead, well, he does have one. It just barely, it's 4 workers. It was not what it was. But now we have 4 carriers on the map. +2 air attack is going to be on the way, and the +2 carrier timing is always a strong one. That being said, of course, Astrea, he's down a base. And, well, Skillous. Yeah, Skillous is going into 3-3-3. This is what I was scared about when I saw that triple forwards. I'm like, man, Astrea, you can hit a timing. You can absolutely hit a timing where you will punish your opponent for being as greedy as he is. But as this game goes later, 3-3-3 is always going to be better than +3. That's not even a question. As look at this, Skillous, he's got an idea that this base is going on up, and he's going to be able to hit this before the static defense is done. So, bye-bye base. Astrea, you're not going to be able to get what you want. That being said, though, carriers are here, Disruptors are here. No, actually, you know what? Never mind. Astrea will be able to defend that base. And will he be able to defend this one, though? It looks like that answer is yes, but that's a lot of DTs. And DTs, of course, they just do tremendous, tremendous damage. Astrea also, he's down on upgrades. He does have, he has 3-1. His opponent has 2-3-2 or 3-2-2. No connection to Dota, by the way. What are these Stalkers doing? Okay. But Astrea has managed to rebuild his 5th base. He's mining from it once again. He does have a, actually doesn't have a worker lead anymore, but he does notionally have a tech lead. Right, with all of these carriers coming on up. Now the Zealots are going to try to take this fight, but the Disruptor shots are going to be somewhat nice, but now the carriers are here. Stalkers are going to blink on top of that. And now it's Astrea's time to knock down a bunch of these Disruptors, but of course, Skillous, he's never attacking with any one army. He has an army on the right-hand side here, going to try to knock down this base, 5th base once again, and that is 18 DTs. Yeah, this is a dead base. Really, the question is whether Astrea can take a positive in a fight that he will be able to punish his opponent for doing this on the other side of the map. This base, by the way, yeah, it's dead. There's not a whole lot that Astrea can do to defend this, not with what he has right now, but I like this, though. Skillous saying, okay, you know what? I got one dead base. What about second? What about 11Zs? What about brunch? As one base will go down, but he wants a nice, tasty mid-afternoon snack for that as well. Some DTs are going to get warped on in, but we do have detection here for Skillous, so it's not really going to be a fair fight. And now it's just time for Astrea to try to make this fight happen. Once again, he's got into a base trade with this style in game number 2. It did not work out. But hopefully, maybe, just maybe, this will work out better for him this time indeed, as there are far less Blink Stalkers, there's far less of a bank for Skillous. So it's going to be a little bit harder for him to rebuild that army. That being said, of course, Astrea has lost 33 workers, and he's starting to lose his bases at an alarming rate. Stalkers, though, they're going to try to blink on forward here. And again, they're plus, it's +2 carries. It's not +3 carries, not yet. It's not quite as powerful a carrier army as it was previously, but Astrea, I think he's into things maybe just a little bit better this time. As once again, he's going to target down all of those pylons, cut down on the reinforcement rate of Skillous here. Now we do have, of course, a warp recall, but I mean, what do DTs care against carriers? They don't, actually. So these DTs on the recall here, I'm not exactly sure what they're supposed to do. Maybe deal with the ground army, deal with the Disruptor so the Stalkers can take a fight. But now Disruptor shots are going to go on off here. And Skillous, he's not quite paying attention. But that being said, he will blink the DTs on top of things. Now the question is whether the carriers will be able to beat these Stalkers. That's what we're looking at. But Chargelots are going to get warped on in. The Stalkers are going on down. DTs are fighting with tremendous skill, or tremendous damage at the very least. And look at all of the detections going on down. But Astrea will win that fight. Just barely, he will win that fight. But look at this. Skillous, he's going to turn all of those DTs into Archons. And when you have that, when you have all of those Archons, suddenly it's not quite as good here for Astrea's. Well, Archons, they absolutely shred Interceptors. So now Stalkers are going to blink on top of the carriers once again. They say, damn the Interceptors, full speed ahead. We're going to kill off as many carriers as possible. But look at this. Astrea has found the dead airspace. He's going to start targeting things down. But these are beefy Archons indeed. They don't go down without a fight. Although a second Archon. Oh, we got to kill that one Archon. And there we go. That Archon will go on down. The armies here for Astrea and Skillous are starting to fall down at an alarming rate. Stalkers are going to blink on top of things. Once again, another carry will go down. It is only 4 here, sitting at the edge of their range, sitting at the edge of Stalker range, doing what they can. But that does mean Astrea will be able to find the space. Luckily for him, he will find the space of Skillous and be able to start targeting that one down. As his one carrier is very low. It has 12 health. So we have another base on the way here for Astrea. Skillous is going to blink on top of things, but no carriers should die from this. They will take some damage, though. Oh, man, good micro there from Astrea, making sure that the carriers do not die. Because, again, this is all Astrea has in this world. That is all that he cares about. Keeping his carriers alive are the single most important role in his single most important job that he has. Hey, you don't expect 322 memes. I'm a Renaissance man, at least an esports Renaissance man. So now we do have Skillous here. He says, look, I don't really like fighting this army. I'm going to move across the map. He's going to depower these pylons. That's the most important thing. If he can depower the pylons, that means no more Disruptors. Although we do have 2 more Disruptors on the way at this point, I guess, as they are being made in the some base. But now the Stalkers, or actually something got recalled. Stalkers got recalled onto the left. Where did the Stalkers get recalled? Okay, into the main base. But 25 pros have died, and I kind of question this. Oh, a base is going to go down too. Nice job with the Zealots and the DTs. Actually, yeah, Skillous is going to lose 2 bases. So Skillous did the recall. Didn't really get a whole lot done. He depowered a Robo, and that was just about it. In exchange, he will lose 2 bases, and he will lose 27 workers. You know what? I feel like that's a bit of a misplay. That being said, it's really hard to play these late games. It is really hard to play this, figuring out exactly where your army needs to be, figuring out what you need to make, figuring out what you need to do. Now, the DTs here will find this base from Astrea and will knock it down off, cleanse it from the face of the earth. So this is going to be less economy here from Astrea. Once again, he's only on this 1 base mining, and that's not even a lie. That's just going to be a GG. Astrea says, I cannot win this, not anymore. Your upgrades are too strong. Let's go to game 5. And that is where we are. We are going on into game number 5 of this semifinals. Astrea versus Skillous. I don't know what these players ate. Again, I don't... Man, this is so good. I mean, it's going to be like a 6-hour broadcast, or like 6-ish hour broadcast now, which is unfortunate. Only for my voice and, you know, sleep. But other than that, as a StarCraft fan, my goodness, good golly, Miss Molly. These games are fantastic. Whoever makes the finals absolutely deserves the finals. And Gotta face Solar, though. And if I'm a Protoss, I'm not all that happy about that. I think Solar has some of the better ZVP in the world right now. He is really good at hitting those timings that you want to hit if the opponent is going on into that double Stargate late game, right? That really Astrea loves. He was doing that even before it was cool. So now our final game of the series. It's going to be 2,000 atmospheres. Skillous versus Astrea. And man, what a series this has been. I cannot overemphasize how well these two players are playing right now. They're taking the games long, they're taking the games late, and they're taking the games incredibly complicated. That's the big deal. It is hard to play games like this. It is really hard to play games like this where you have bases all over the map. You have rather technical unit compositions. You are trying to figure out what your opponent is going to do so you can counter it, but also make sure that you don't show them what you're going to do so they can't counter you, and make sure whether you use a recall properly, do all that. And honestly, Skillous has shown a tremendous ability to play that type of game. Far better ability than I kind of gave him credit for at the start of this series. As I thought, my idea of how this series was going to go was we were going to have Skillous take a couple early games maybe, and then once it got late, it was going to be Astrea's game. But that's not what happened. And, well, we're going to have to see what happens in this final game. It will be 2,000 atmospheres. Let's go. Spawning in the upper right in the blue for Cascade Gaming, perhaps for the last time. Certainly for the last time in this series. From Russia, give it up for Skillous. And his opponent in the bottom left in the red, representing Alpha X. 1 game from the finals, 1 game from elimination. He is Astrea. So I think this is a map you can get away with a single gate. It's a 3 walls. So it's a 3 structure wall. So I don't know. I certainly have not seen that single gate expand built on this map yet. I'm sure MaxPax is going to show us how to do it, but until then, have not seen that yet. Now, so it will be a double gate expand. Looks like for both players here. There we go. The gate's on the way for both sides. Already one is already done. And where do we go from here? Now, the proxy pylon meta is mostly done. This idea of Schrodinger's pylon, which was very popular for a while, honestly, pros just got too good at finding the pylons and not getting swayed by it. So it was kind of, you lose a pylon, and you don't get the reaction you're looking for. So pros have just kind of stopped doing that. They want to make sure their pylons are in their main base. No big deal. So first and second pylon here in the main base for Astrea and for Skillous. So Astrea, at the very least, posturing that he's going to get a natural, but I mean, so is Skillous. So at the very least, this game's going to go past 5 minutes, I do believe. Now, there's a chance that Skillous or Astrea are just kind of messing with us or messing with each other and do have some sort of all-in planned in game number 5, but with how these games have gone, with how long these games have gone, with how epic these games have gone, with how close they are, I don't know that either player is really willing to put their tournament life on an all-in, especially considering Skillous tried it in game number 2 and he got smacked aside by Astrea. So there we go. We have a natural on the... Ooh, never mind. Skillous, he's doing something rather crazy. Now, he does have a Nexus on the way, of course, but it is going to be a Stargate and a Twilight, both before Warp Gate finishes. That's a really quick Twilight, especially considering we did see a Stargate as well. Now, we do have a Scout coming on in here, and the Phoenix is going to see both of these. I'm actually not totally sure what Skillous is going for. He does have an Oracle on the way. But if this is just really quick blink, I'm going to be rather surprised. Because that is a significant expenditure right there. And Astrea, something that Astrea should be able to take advantage of. He does, of course, have his own Twilight. Yeah, it's just going to be really quick blink. Okay. Huh. So Astrea does have his third base just about done. So does Skillous. There's no advantage there. Astrea will have a 1 odd worker lead. Okay, I guess the advantage here is he's got a little bit more army. Yeah, that was kind of like, man, this feels like Skillous is getting everything and losing nothing. But no, Astrea will be able to build a couple more Stalkers, a couple more Sentries early, build that Sentry energy, get the Scouts off, all that fun stuff. That's going to be the trade. That being said, though, Skillous getting off a couple workers will do a really good job of knocking down some workers. But hey, you know what? It is some Adept play. Double Adept means double dead probes. 2 probes will go on down, but that should be the end of things. This Adept should cancel its Shade and get... Oh, no, it won't. Okay, well, that's a dead Adept. But here we go. Forge here for Skillous. Astrea going for a quick third. Okay, so he's going to say, you know what? Honestly, I know what you're doing. And you will not have the production to really threaten me for a time being. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get my quick third base. I'm going to get my worker lead. I'm going to get some sort of income lead. And then I'm going to use that to snowball this game. But Skillous, he will have an upgrade lead for the time being. Now, granted, +1 Blink Stalker timings don't really seem to make that much of a difference. That being said, though, Skillous, certainly more than anything else, we have seen him go and attempt to leverage these blink timings, these +1 timings, which is kind of interesting because that's just kind of frowned upon in the PvP meta at this point. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what this is. I've seen Astrea do this before. I've seen him win with it before. He's going to go like 2 gas, 3 gate, 3 base all in, like +1 3 base all in, which is massive charge loss. But look at this. I think Skillous is aware of this. There is... Oh, this is cool. This is Adept Glaives coming on up from Skillous here. And, hey, you know what? Adept Glaives against, well, Adept Glaives against Zealots is not really a good thing. So, this is actually not going to be all that great of a fight either. Both Guardian Shield, Astrea should be able to take the fight. Now, Stalkers blink forward, blink back. A tango in the middle of the map. And at the end of the day, that's what I want. At the end of the day, it is going to be just about equal. And, of course, Astrea does have that income lead. He does have his third base a whole lot faster, so we can see that here. Yeah, this is Astrea with his patented, I'm just gonna all in you with like 30,000 zealots. Good luck holding. Right as you take your 4th base is kind of that timing. So honestly, with Glaive Adepts, I'd like Skillous' chance to hold that. Glaive Adepts are really good against zealots, and if you're making that part of your army, that's going to deal with what Astrea is doing really well. And I don't know how Skillous saw that. I mean, did he see the lack of gas? And then, I mean, he really has not seen the lack of gas. He hasn't seen the gas, really. Two of the 4 geysers that Astrea has not taken. But yeah, this is going to be it. It's going to be the 4 base, charge lot, +1, all in. And I have been more excited when Astrea did it the first time. But I'm really excited to see how this one works out. Because, again, I feel like Skillous has the perfect counter. Now, whether he does or not, that's a different question. But now we have Astrea moving out on the map. And we're going to see lots and lots of Zealots. A couple Zealots getting warped on in. How many gateways do we have? This is 8 gate. I think when I saw him do it last time, it was like 12 gate. But Skillous out on the map as well. This is perfect for Astrea. He says, look, yeah, sure, take my 4th base. I don't really care. Now, he will warp in a couple of Zealots to try to deal with this. And he will try to retake it, but this 4th base is dead. And now Astrea, he does have +1 done now, so he's going to have the perfect time to get on in here. Stalker's going to blink on top of the shield battery. It's going to go down immediately. Zealots getting on top of these Adepts, but again, these Adepts will fight these Zealots really well. That being said, though, Astrea does have a rather significant army lead, and more Zealots are getting warped on in. And, well, all the Stalkers here, they're going to die as well. So Zealots, Stalkers, they're going to kind of do what they can. The army of Skillous did get recalled, but the question is whether too much damage has already been done here. More and more Zealots are going to get warped on in, of course. The shield battery, or excuse me, the Warp Prism will be in a fantastic position to stay alive here. Stalkers are going to blink on top of it, but that's not going to be useful whatsoever, as they will stay alive here. Stalkers blinking on top of the Stalkers in the back line. And it looks like, oh, the Warp Prism does go down. This is massive here for Skillous. Now it's just a question of how much damage Astrea can get done before his Warpins, or before I should say Skillous gets his Warpins. But now Astrea does have his 4th base just about halfway done. And Astrea, he's just warping in back at home. 8 Zealots at a time. He has a double army supply lead. He's plus 20 army supply lead. He will get that warp prism as well. He has a 20 worker lead. And Astrea, once again, doing that weird all warp gate +1 shenanigans, is in a really good spot here in this game number 5. Now his 4th base is just about done. He again is only mining off of 2 gases. He's going to get a couple more now that he has 4 bases and hasn't killed his opponent. But we're just going to have to see more and more Zealots get warped on in. And, oh, look at this. Astrea is going to find the army of Skillous in the middle of the map here, getting on top of a lot of this stuff. He's going to get the Immortal immediately. And yes, these Adepts are fighting well. That's not a question, but really it's a matter of supply at this point. It's a matter of quantity, not of quality. That being said, these Adepts are actually doing a really good job, but they are going to run out at the end of the day, and the Zealots are now going to get on top of these Stalkers. The Stalkers are going to start to go down, and of course, Skillous, he canceled his +2. Does not matter. GG Astrea. In game number 5, in prime Astrea fashion, will climb his way on to the finals to a date with Solar.